you the game.
What do you mean it's not back yet, Tom? I told you I wanted a reading on the Harper X-ray this afternoon. Let me know as soon as you get it in.
I see the minor in question, Mary Jane Harper, received an injury 6 weeks ago. At that time, a request was made for an investigation by the Children's Protective Services. And according to this, the home is clean and the child well cared for. Suspicion of abuse not confirmed. Now, the medical report tells me that full skeletal x-rays have been ordered but not yet received. Well, the hospitals are getting as bad as the mail service. And here are some impressive testimony to the excellence of your character, Mrs. Harper. Everything about you seems responsible, young lady, and yet you put your child's life in grave danger.
Your Honor, we are aware of the serious nature of the charge of child endangering. However, there are mitigating circumstances. This is a young lady who was deeply in love with her husband, the father of her child. His abandonment unsettled her mind, made her temporarily emotionally unstable. Mrs. Harper has volunteered to undergo psychiatric therapy, and her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Thomas Atherton, will assume responsibility for supervision.
This court finds that acceptable. Custody of the minor returned to her mother, pending the formal hearing.
Returned custody? Do that. The child has been so badly damaged she's mute. What about her broken arm? What about the fact she almost burned to death? What about the skeletal x-rays? Now, I heard Helgerson order them myself. What do they show?
They weren't back yet.
It's impossible. It takes less than 24 hours.
Unless, of course, some dingbat orderly thought it was a new graphic and had it framed for somebody's office. And in our place, that could happen.
Well, without them, there was no damning evidence against Rowena Harper, other than she went out for an hour and left her kid sleeping in the crib.
Mark, I think I need another drink.
You got it.
Mark, I'll get it.
You got it.
I knew it was too quiet around here. I'll be right back.
Okay, hon. I'll tell you a little secret. In juvie, the judges tend to make their decisions on the basis of how things look. You've seen Rowena Harper. She does not well of an abusive mother.
What profile? There isn't any. It's not just blacks or Italians or lower middle class or rednecks or welfare mothers. It's anybody and everybody.
I know, but try and get the public to believe it.
So you're saying the judge is the general public, huh?
He's just a guy like anybody else. Besides, there are other considerations. A 4-year-old child is better off with her mother than in a foster care situation.
How can you say that? I have read the books. I have seen the statistics. 1 of every 2 severely battered children dies after being returned to the parents. My God, Dave! Child abuse is the leading cause of death for children under the age of 5 in this country. Why don't we just take the kids away from the monsters and keep them away?
Because we're not talking about monsters. We're talking about human beings. Some are psychotic, but most are not. Most abusing parents are dependent, frightened people reacting to pressures they don't understand and don't know how to handle. And most are reclaimable, 90% in fact.
He's right, hon. And take it from a working nursery school teacher. Small children don't want to be separated from their parents, even cruel and abusive ones.
And good foster homes are scarce. County institutions are overcrowded and sometimes more dangerous than the home.
So what do we do?
We do the best we can. We need a tight system of support for parents who are failing. We need hotlines in every city, in every state across the country. We need groups like Parents Anonymous, where people who are filled with shame and guilt can come together and talk to each other and be understood.
Well, if you ask me, we need the same kind of instant reporting of child abuse that people do as when animals are being hurt.
So we need to get to in time. Children who are abused become abusing parents.
I hear what you're saying, but surely sometimes a parent is too far gone to have a kid around. Surely sometimes a child has to be removed from the home.
Yeah, sometimes.
Well, I believe with all my heart that Mary Jane Harper is one of those. And I think gut level, so do you. Dave, we have 2 weeks. Let's prove it.
I'll try.
About a week ago, Dr. Buccieri. I pick up the files from radiology. Dr. Greenberg was on the phone. He just pointed to a pile and told me to take them. You said the name was Harper.
Mary Jane.
Here it is.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Please, señor. My English, yo no hablo muy bien.
Maria, you are here every day. Now, I only want to know if you've ever seen Senora Harper hurt La Niña. Hurt. Hit. Scream at. Do you know what I'm asking?
Senora Atherton, she pay me to come clean here. I don't hear nothing. I don't see nothing. I just clean. You want to know something. You ask, Senora Atherton. I don't know nothing. Nada. Nada.
We have a lawyer, Mr. Williams. I believe he's the one you should be talking to.
Mrs. Atherton, I'm not the police. I'm not trying to punish anyone.
Oh, really? It was my understanding that you represent the state, and the state feels that my daughter is an unfit mother.
What do you feel?
I feel nothing. I haven't felt anything in years. 2 of them shut me out a long time ago. If Rowena is spoiled and selfish, it's his fault. Nothing was ever good enough for Daddy's little angel. Don't ask me about Rowena. I'm an outsider.
How did you find this?
I think a more appropriate question would be, how did it get lost?
You never stop sniping, do you, Buccieri?
Well, I'm already fired. What have I got to lose?
Now, just for the record, I'm not firing you because you're from the ghetto, because you're a woman, because you're Italian.
Oh, yeah? What goes on my record? I got fired because I bite my nails?
Try hostile to authority.
There they are.
My God.
Do I see 3 healed-over fractures, Dr. Greenberg?
3, yes.
Sweet little Rowena Harper has broken her baby's body 3 times before this.
Mrs. West, I am conducting a formal investigation for the Children's Protective Services in regards to allegations of child abuse and neglect against your neighbor, Mrs. Harper.
We have nothing to say, Mr. Williams.
I think you should know that I am empowered to subpoena you into court if necessary.
Look, my husband is retired because of his heart. He can't take any upset. Now, we called the fire station as soon as we saw smoke. We don't know anything else about what happened in that house. We never saw anything. We never heard anything. If you take us into court, You'll be wasting your time as well as ours. Please, leave us alone.
Hold those x-rays good and tight, Dr. Friend. It's our only evidence of actual abuse. The maid heard nothing. The neighbors heard nothing. The grandmother knows nothing. Try and talk to Mary Jane?
Forget it. God knows what she's feeling, but she's covering up for her mother in the only way she knows how. She won't talk. What about the husband?
Spit to Mexico, and no one knows where, of course.
Of course.
Yes?
Why?
All right, that's enough.
Why?
You say one more word to my client, and you are in serious trouble, young lady.
You're not the enemy either, are you? Who the hell is?
There is no doubt in the court's mind but that the allegations of abuse and neglect have been substantiated. However, the court must take into consideration the supportive presence of Mrs. Harper's parents, testimony of her psychiatrist, Dr. Sutterman, who finds her disturbed mental state temporary and responding to treatment. The court orders the supervision by the Department of Social Services to continue, and a more complete psychiatric evaluation by Dr. Sutterman within 2 months' time. At that hearing, the question of the legal custody of the minor child, Mary Jane Harper, will be decided. Until then, physical custody of the minor child, Mary Jane Harper, is returned to her mother.
It's all right, it's all right, it's all right, Steve. All right.
Your side won, Dr. Helgeson. Your friend's little girl has her baby back. The lawyer her family bought fixed it. The psychiatrist her family bought says she has this temporary little nervous problem during which she broke 4 of her baby's bones and burned her a couple of times, but all that unpleasant stuff is over. Mommy's going to be just fine. Of course, Mary Jane has, in her 47 months of life on this earth, been beaten and tortured and left to burn up. She may not be fine. She doesn't talk anymore. She may never talk as a result of all this trauma. So we may never know the whole story of what's been done to her. But what the hell? She's not our property. She's the property of her mother. That's who she belongs to, just like any other small, dumb animal. And like an animal, Mary Jane has no real value. She can't vote.
You got it all out yet?
Not quite. I've decided not to let you fire me, Dr. Helgeson. You try, and I'll fight you in court. It's not that I'm crazy about this place. It's that you need someone like me here. And I do a great job. And, for the sake of our working relationship, I'll try to improve my professional attitude.
Well, that's very good of you, Doctor.